So I just thought I'd do a quick video just summing up the position for and against having liability for omissions, i.e. failure to act. So let me just go over what I've done in the last 3 videos. So my introduction to actus reus video, we had a look at actus reus and the different forms it comes in: conduct, circumstance, and consequence. We looked at the general rule established in Airedale NHS Trust and Bland, where it says that one cannot be liable for an omission except should a duty exist, and further to that there are status offences and continuing acts which make you liable for omissions. In my next video we looked at the duty situations, so statutory duty, contractual duty, duties in public office, duties in public office, I can't remember the rest, special relationship and voluntary assumption of duty, and also the creation of a dangerous situation which can make you liable for an omission. And then we also looked at the two other types of offences: continuing acts and status offences, which also make you liable for omissions. In this video, I'm going to sum up the positions for having these liabilities and the position against having these liabilities. So why should we have liability for these omissions? Well, taking the social responsibility view, it is argued that they should be, because there's an assumption that the criminal law is designed to regulate behaviour, and if your behaviour has many aspects, behaviour has the aspects of you acting in a particular way as well as you failing to act in a particular way. That is an aspect of behaviour, and criminal law is there to regulate it, and therefore there should be no distinction between acts and omissions. Similarly, as you will see, that this main position against having a liability for omissions is the individual autonomy argument, arguing that people should have the freedom to make choices as they want, and they shouldn't be held liable unless that was their particular choice that they made. And what people who advocate, for example, like Ashworth, Professor Ashworth, that argue for liability for omissions, is they say that this argument is weak, because they say rarely does a criminal law seek to maximize individual autonomy. In fact, it's always promoting certain choices for you to act in particular ways, like wearing seatbelts, for instance. Furthermore, a level of social cooperation and social responsibility, they argue, is both good and necessary for the realization of individual autonomy. Each member of society is valued intrinsically, and the value of a citizen's life is generally greater than another citizen's temporary freedom. So that's the utilitarian argument, that actually in order to promote other people's individual freeness and autonomy, you do need some liability for omissions. People who argue against it, well, this is the general argument that interferes with the liability of a person who wishes to mind their own business. And in fact, the defendant does nothing. This is the essential point. The evil result would necessarily occur, so like the killing would necessarily occur in the same way if that omission did not exist, because that omission is failing to act. So if the person just wasn't there, not that the person was there, then the evil result would still occur. It's not like they're acting in a particular way. And again, the idea that the law is there to maximize individual autonomy, to create the perfect environment to have certain freedoms. The individual's right to self-determination is also at stake here. Then also the idea of this social responsibility view, it makes law very intrusive, and it's busy, and they say that it makes people into busybodies because it's putting a lot of burden on people to act in a particular way, and they're busy rescuing people. That's why I think the best argument for where our position today is the present law is very balanced, and it has a very, if it's easy to rescue someone, then yes, there's a duty, then you have to act in a particular way. Otherwise, it's left where it is, which is maximizing individual autonomy, and you're only liable for the choices you make. Furthermore, having liability for omissions, they argue, is impractical because it would require us to alleviate large number of situations which we know about. So how far will you go to avoid a situation? And also then you have this idea that you would have to change a lot of legislation, and you would have to pay, and it would be expensive to support a program of education and information. because otherwise it would be unfair for the individual to be found liable for omission when they don't know what they can be made liable for. And criminal law needs clarity just because the punishments are so great. And then you have the general argument that there's a causation issue with showing omissions that they cause a particular result. And also there's a lack of mens rea with omissions. You're just assuming that the person has done something with malice, etc. So it doesn't sit well with the rest of the legal system. Anyway, thank you for watching. I hope this video helps.